Hi everyone and welcome back. I have to confess this video, it might be more of a rant than anything else. It's what the algorithm likes. When I'm nice, the algorithm doesn't like it. When I'm mean, the algorithm seems to like it. So I thought I'd talk about this topic because it seems to be quite a popular topic on the internet. The thing is, I have titled it Why Men Pick the Ratchet Girl. And I think sadly you can only go on personal experience, and from my personal experience, I've been in a situation several times where a man has picked a so-called ratchet girl over me. I have to use a term that you'll kind of, once you hear it, you'll get what I mean. And obviously don't like to talk about women in such ways, but I think of a handful of times in my life where a man has picked a woman that has, I'm not even joking, they have zero personality. Not even someone that's maybe a nice person, maybe not the sharpest tool in the box, not a funny type of girl, but a nice person, pleasant to be around. Not even that. The women they pick literally have zero personality, and you wouldn't even want to be around them because they have nothing to offer. And several times, a man has picked this woman over me, and it has literally frustrated me so much. It is one of those things in life where if a man doesn't pick you, you literally have to move on and think, well, fine, you've made your choice, deal with it. So I thought I'd explore this topic because I've talked about this before, why men ultimately choose the bimbo over the queen. But I thought we'd delve into a slightly different topic of why men cold approach the ratchet girl and not the queen. You've seen it, you've been there in the clubs where you're just with your friends and the man goes and he picks the ratchet girl and you're sitting there thinking, hang on a minute, I've dressed myself up nice, I'm a good, decent person, I'm intelligent. He's not picking me. He's gone over and he's picked the ratchet girl. How many times have we seen those Jubilee, interviews where men are like, I like women that wear natural makeup. I like women that are just naturally beautiful. And they go and they pick the orange woman with hair extensions. I mean, why do men do it? Why do men approach the ratchet girl? The nice, kind, sweet girl gets overlooked. And I think it's probably for a few reasons, but I think the one reason that most people don't talk about is, obviously it's hard for a man to approach a woman, but I think why men pick the ratchet girl is they can compartmentalise in their head. If he approaches that girl and she rejects him, he will compartmentalise in his head and think, oh, she was a hoe anyway, doesn't matter. And that is consistently why men will pick the ratchet girl, because there's nothing to lose. If he approaches that girl, nothing to lose, hasn't lost anything, he's not deeply attached to that girl. It's literally just a one and done of, oh, I've approached that girl. If she says no, I'll move on. Whereas if a guy approaches a girl he thinks is really sweet, he thinks she's marriage material, the type of girl that he could bring home to his mum and dad, and she rejects him, he'll literally go into a headspin for 10 years and then start doing, internet content, like the male version of me. If a guy approaches a girl and he gets rejected by her, it's obviously going to affect his self-esteem. And then he's going to go into exactly the same spiral that you do when you maybe approach a guy and he turns you down. You go into that self-loathing of, why doesn't he like me? Why am I not good enough? Why did he reject me? And a man will do the exact same thing. And that's why in life I've tried to not be upset when a man will pick a ratchet girl over me, because I just think he's doing that. Maybe he's not ready. Sometimes men generally aren't ready to fall in love and they don't want to go to that place, but they still want intimacy. So the ratchet girl is it's almost like a layover stop where they can just have some kind of intimacy. They don't want to get heartbroken again. And that's why men consistently pick the ratchet girl, because they're literally not ready. We've all seen when a man picks someone that he likes and then straight away he's like, you're the one, I want to get married. I've probably just made this up, I don't remember, but I think I've read this somewhere or heard of it. But The Bachelor, oh God, like the worst show on TV ever. When the men go into that series, the person they give to the first rose to, it's usually the person they marry. When a man is in that mindset of he's wanting to marry, it's literally like that line in Sex and the City, and I can't remember who says it. It's probably Sam or Charlotte, feels like, no. It's probably like a Carrie or a Charlotte thing. Men are literally like New York taxis, and when they want to marry, they literally put their light on and within 6 months they found someone. Men just know, for a man to settle, this is why, you know, chasing men and all that. A man needs to be in that mindset where he wants to settle. If you're dating someone and he's not in that mindset, just literally run. For women, relationships are seen as the most important thing in a woman's life. That's why we shame women for being single. For men, it's having a job and having achieved everything he wants to in his career. That's why we shame men for not having a job. We say, oh, he's a bum, he hasn't done this, he's just sitting in his mum's basement. It's because we shame men on their financial status and what they have achieved in life. Whereas for women, it's, are they married? Have they had children? Because society is fucked. A man has to have achieved a certain stability in his career before he even thinks about marriage and wanting kids, etc. Unless he's reached that pinnacle of his career and he thinks, yeah, don't even go there, don't even try. That's why men will hang around with a ratchet girl. That's why they approach the ratchet girl, because they know they can, what's it like? Let's try and think of a metaphor. I don't know of a metaphor. Maybe like racing around a track or something. They're just like running the clock down. They're literally running the clock down until they meet someone that they want to get married to. Yeah, it's okay for men because they can have a child whenever they want. Whereas obviously we can't. But I was also thinking of this recently. It's actually good as a woman if you're not approached all the time. And, you know, bear with me with this point, see where I'm going. Is because if you're the type of girl that gets approached all the time by men constantly, you're probably putting out vibes that you're too available. This isn't a like dress modest video, it's dress however you want. But I'm just saying, if you dress in a way that men think shows you as available, men are wired to approach women that are available. Remember that men go into an outcome thinking, I will only approach someone if I think it's a yes. A lot of a lot of men are not confident enough to approach women and have a knockback. I mean, humans aren't. Humans in general aren't that confident to get knocked back by the opposite sex if they're straight. So for a lot of men, they are not confident enough to approach a woman in that manner. They will only approach if they think it's a yes. So if you're dressed in a way that is deemed available by society, you will get men approaching you. But girls, it's probably not going to be the type of men that you want to approach you. So I always think in a weird kind of way that's like the reverse. You almost don't want men to approach you all the time. You want men to be slightly reticent whether or not they approach you or not. You want to have a slight bit of mystery around you, maybe an air, because then it will wheedle away the ones that you don't want to approach you, because they will think, I have not got a chance in hell. And then hopefully the ones that do approach you will be the ones that you vibe with. But that is my opinion. You just want to be approached by the right kind of men. You know, you don't want to just be approached by everyone. That's sadly what's hard, because I stopped watching femininity content years ago because it would literally drive me nuts. It would constantly tell me to drop into my feminine, to be receptive to the male energy, to be receptive to the male gaze. And what happened? No one was bloody approaching me. If you literally sit back sometimes, nobody will approach you. That's why you have to put feelers out there. That's why you have to sometimes make it safe for a man to approach you. Girl, if you literally sit in your feminine energy all the time, sometimes I think you don't end up with anyone. The thing is, it's fine to sit in your feminine energy and wait and be chosen, but you will only have those men that want you as an option. It works as an option if the men approaching you are the type of men that you want to approach you. But if the men that you want aren't approaching you, then you have to maybe sometimes think outside the box and think, okay, the men that I want are not approaching me. There are things I need to work on. Maybe I need to put a step forward and lessen the gap for a man to approach me and asking me out on a date. Maybe I need to lessen a gap. Only place I don't approach men is Tinder, because it is so easy for a man to message on Tinder. But I think you have to think outside the box. You have to think there's dating apps, there's Instagram, there's putting yourself on social media. There's also when you go out, there isn't just one way to meet someone. You have to think of all the different ways there are to meet men. And sadly, I think the cold approach, it's just too dangerous for a woman. You don't know what you're going to get. This is why women like to date friends of friends and have someone vet someone before they approach them or get to know them. It's because it's literally just too dangerous for a woman to do a cold approach. That's why we rely on dating apps so heavily, and that's why most of us are single. And it's always kind of pissed me off, I think. I feel men haven't picked me. They've always chosen someone that was less of a threat to them. Someone that is easy, placid, not going to be a challenge for them. Someone that is, you know, the kind of female equivalent of like the steady Eddie, not going to say anything, not going to voice their opinion when things get tough. If they have like indiscretions, just sit there and take it. And it's as if men, I don't know, as I've got older, I kind of feel that men don't want a challenge. They're not looking for their equal. It's as if they're looking for their subordinate. And it just winds me up so much. I think we were all told at school, we were told, you work hard, you get an education, and then this life just mysteriously just falls into your lap. And the honest answer that it doesn't. Like, the honest answer for a lot of women is that we've played the game and it hasn't worked. Without going on a hypergamous rant, because the trolls love that. But you get to yourself a certain stage, and then you look around and you're like, shit, there's no option. There's no option for me. Like swiping, chatting to people that work in retail. And I don't want someone that works in retail. The other day I had to unmatch with someone because they worked in, oh my God, this is going to sound so mean. But I had to unmatch with someone because they worked in a garden centre. And I think, if you're a student and you work in a garden centre, fine. If you're close to retirement, work in a garden centre, fine. If you are 30 years old and able-bodied and working in a garden centre, that is on you. That is a you problem of having zero ambition in life. Why is a woman going to want to date you? You have zero ambition in life. You're stacking plants in a garden centre. It's going to sound mean, but it's true. Like, it's true. Women want their equal, and this is the thing. You get yourself to a certain stage and the men are just picking the ratchet women. The ratchet woman wins. The ratchet women with no personality wins. It is a bit of an exploration into why men are picking this certain type of women. And the women that are left at the top kind of feel that in years gone by they would have found someone because a man would have just paired up with them. But now the options aren't there. And it's not just me. I've seen several other female creators that are smart, they're attractive. And I sometimes watch their content and think, I can definitely see similarities in your content to mine. You're going down that road of self-loathing. You're going down that road of not loving yourself because you haven't had that stability that you do get with a partner. When you have a partner, you get that almost, it's almost as if you can just breathe and you're like, I don't have to go looking anymore. And I definitely watch other creators fall into that self-loathing trap because they don't have a man and they can't find anyone. And I've even seen male creators fall into the same trap too. And it just sucks because when you can't find anyone, you do put it back on yourself. You do put it back on yourself and what's wrong with me? People will say, well, you're just being too picky. Why don't you go out with that man that works in the garden centre? But the thing is, even if I did go out with him, we're going to have zero things in common. You don't end up working in a garden centre and have a growth mindset. He's not going to have read the books I've read. There's going to be nothing for me to talk about. It's not me talking from a place of me thinking I'm better than this person. It's me thinking in the long term, we're going to have absolutely zero things to talk about because you don't have a growth mindset. I am projecting onto this person, but you haven't tried to get out of it. Whereas me, I'm in corporate, and if you stumbled upon my channel, you can see that I'm trying to get out of the situation I'm in. And I don't want that. I don't want to be pulled down by a man that has all these issues. I want to meet someone that can help me and lift me up. And you can say that's wrong and you should do that for a man. But no, it's not the same. The man has to be the provider. That's just the way it works. It's not the whole picking some off the street, because, oh my God, if you pick a man in that, this is what happens. If you pick a man in that position and you raise a man up, what will a man do? He'll think, I'm better now, and he'll leave you for someone else. Mark my words, that's what happens. When you raise a man up and he gets to a certain position, then they gain the self-esteem, and then they're like, bye. And then they're off with another woman because they now have the self-esteem that they didn't have. This isn't like the house of the broken men. You have to sadly wait and wait for someone to be on your level, and sometimes it takes way longer than you anticipate.